Hey, welcome to West Coast Bama. Look at what I got. I got some nice, pretty Roma tomatoes. Guess what we're going to do with that? We're going to make some spaghetti sauce today. It's going to be an all-day thing. We're going to make a mess. Haven't had, we personally, as a family, haven't had any spaghetti sauce homemade in quite a while, so it's not for the faint of heart. You've got to have all day. You can't have anything else planned. That's just the way it is. But we like it, and I do it when I don't have anything else to do. I'll do it. I'm gonna wash these, and then I'm gonna get them in this pot over here. See that pot over there? That has got water in it that is heating up right now. It doesn't have any salt and pepper or anything like that in it. It's just plain water. That's how we de-skin tomatoes the easy way. So when that gets rolling, I'm gonna wash these, and when that gets rolling, I'm gonna throw them in there and leave them in there for about 60 to 90 seconds. And then I'm gonna strain them. And then I will show you guys what happens after that. Be right back. All right, guys, we got these tomatoes boiled in the plain water. Got my cast iron skillet over, or not skillet, Dutch oven over here. One of my favorite pieces. It is a La Crusade, and yes, it's very expensive. That's the reason why I don't own but two pieces. I own this Dutch oven, and I own the butter dish over there. I love this stuff. It is French made and made very, very well. My Dutch oven stays in my china cabinet, so it don't get marred up in a regular cabinet. That thing, I put chili in there, I put spaghetti sauce in there, I put stew in there, I cook everything like that in there, and it never fails me. And it's easy to clean. Can't speak enough about that, but I only have two pieces because it's extremely expensive. I think the next thing I'm gonna get is a casserole dish. That's gonna be, I think that's gonna be my next piece, but they're very expensive. This thing was $300. Not afraid to say that. Anyway, we got our tomatoes here. They've been heated up, and what I like to do is cut the skin off of them. And you see the skin, or the stem. I cut the stem, and then the skin peels right off. And that's what you want when it comes to making spaghetti sauce from scratch. Some of them are easier than others, and I will do the work just for this, so I can make some good spaghetti sauce. That goes right in the pot, and of course the skin and the stem go away, and I go to the next one. And some of it just falls right off. You see that? And then I'll cut the stem off. It goes right in the pot. Sometimes I'll take some of this, if it's big enough, and I'll put that in the pot also. This one has it split, and it's still kind of warm, but that doesn't mean anything. I'll cut down on one side, cut down on the other, and take it off. This is the same way I do it when I can tomatoes. And I'm hoping to can about 40 quarts this year, here towards the end of September, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to it or not. I can tomatoes a lot. So I'll process the rest of these and I'll get right back with you. All right, we've got all of the tomatoes processed. We're about to get jiggy with it. I'm gonna cut up some herbs. I'm gonna let these get hot. I'm gonna cut up some herbs and some other stuff, and I'll show you what that's all about. This is an all-day process, just in case you guys didn't pick up on that. It's pretty early here in Northern California. I'll be babysitting this all day. This is not for when you've got something you got to do. You got to stay here. You got to stay on top of it. I'm crushing these up. They haven't heated up yet, but I'm giving them a nice crush. And this is the base. Obviously, as most people know, this is the base of our spaghetti sauce. Now, this is not regular spaghetti. This is not going to be regular spaghetti sauce. This is going to be a Bolognese. Oh, I just flung some tomato across the room. This is going to be a Bolognese, and or as my father-in-law calls it, which he's full-blooded Italian, and was raised by, full-blooded Italian mother and grandma. He helped me put this together a few years back in terms of the recipe, and he calls it a ragu. So that's what I have a tendency to call it myself. This is not what you would call regular spaghetti sauce. It's going to cook all day. Like I said earlier, I'm going to cut up some herbs and put in there, and I'll show you what those are. We're going to make some meatballs today also, so you guys are in for a treat. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, but when it comes to cooking stuff like this, gumbo from South Alabama, where I'm from, or Louisiana, it's an all-day process, and there's certain details and certain techniques that I like to make sure people know in order to make it right, and that causes the video to be long, and I hope you guys get something out of it. So we will make the video today, and I'll post it sometime tonight or tomorrow. I've got 2 bay leaves, a little bit of crushed pepper. That's going in. I've got basil. I've got oregano. And I've got thyme. These little bowls make me feel like a chef. So I can show you you guys all the spices. Otherwise, I wouldn't have these spices in these bowls. Salt. Not very much. Pepper. And the most important part there's going to be a lot of controversy over this, but I'm going to try to explain it. It's sugar. Got just about as much sugar as I do salt. The reason for the sugar, if you talk to a lot of people, they're like, I'm not putting sugar in my spaghetti sauce. Well, yeah, you wouldn't put sugar in your spaghetti sauce if you were buying it in a jar, because the sugar is already in there. And the reason why the sugar is already in the jar is because when you cook tomatoes all day, the seeds of the tomatoes release a bitterness. And I can't remember what it's called right now. I'll tell you guys later. That bitterness is real good for you, but it doesn't taste real well. So you put the sugar in there to negate that bitterness. So these tomatoes that you're looking at right now, they're going to cook for the next 4 hours before I do anything else to it. We're going to do all kinds of stuff today. I'm going to make meatballs. We're going to have some garlic bread, restaurant style. You guys are in for a treat. Stick with us. All right, so welcome back. We got some, I got the Big Bertha out, as you can tell. My big skillet. Sauteing up some onions and carrots. This is the difference between regular spaghetti sauce, if you want to call it regular, and like a ragu. So look at these tomatoes. These tomatoes have been cooking now for about 4.5 hours. Oh yeah, it's gonna be some good stuff. So we're gonna add to it. We got some onions, like I said, and some carrots here, and Big Bertha. And I'm not gonna add any salt and pepper to the onions and the carrots. You would normally do that when you're sauteing vegetables, but I have plenty of salt and pepper in that spaghetti. What is basically right now, it's just a marinara. This is going to be a long segment of the video. Hope you guys stick with us. Because this is going to move pretty fast. I've got a pound of hamburger meat over here, and I use 97.3, so 97%. How do they put it? 93. Well, they don't put it like that. They just say 7% fat. So I use the lowest fat hamburger meat I can find when it comes to making a ragu, as my father-in-law would call it. It's actually a Bolognese. That's what a lot of people call it, but people that are from Italy, they definitely call it a ragu. And like I told you guys earlier, I've got to give him credit. He helped me put this recipe together a couple of years back. While he doesn't do a whole lot of cooking, I got to throw him under the bus. while he doesn't do a whole lot of cooking, he knows how to do it. Well, he told me how to do it so he can have me do it, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Now, I'm not gonna call out any names. I don't put names on my videos except for my own. My name's Tom. I just don't. I'm just not gonna go there. So we're sauteing this, and we're about to really get serious about cooking something here. I'm not going to stop the video during this process because it's going to happen very fast. I've got a couple of things I've got to get. I need some milk. And I need some wine. So we got to figure out where that stuff is at. Give me just a second. Sorry about that. My beautiful wife had to go outside and get milk for me. There wasn't any in the inside refrigerator, so just getting that ready. Not gonna put that in there just yet. And I have my wine over here also. I've got my hamburger meat opened up. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these mushrooms in here and my garlic. Let me get a spoon. I want to get all that out of there. Told you guys I was gonna make a mess today. So this recipe, and this is a good time to bring it up because, like I said, I'm not going to cut the video. This is going to be the longest part. My father-in-law, like I told you guys earlier, he's full-blooded Italian, and he knows what goes into cooking this kind of stuff. And he helped me come up with this recipe. But like I said, he would rather have me cook it than him do it. So he helped me come up with it. Gave me a lot of pointers, and it turns out real good. We'll let that saute for a few more seconds, and then we're gonna throw some meat in there. Put this lid back on there. That is considered basically a marinara right now, because it has nothing in it besides tomatoes and spices. Not trying to bore you guys. We're good to go. We're gonna make some meatballs here in a minute. As soon as I get this done and I get it in our sauce, I will cut video and I will get into making some meatballs. Ain't that pretty? All those colors in there. And of course, the whole reason behind the 7% fat on the hamburger meat, and I'm going to chop this up a little bit, but I'm not going to get too crazy with it because it's going to cook for so long, it's going to fall apart. And that's what we want. You can tell, I'm sure, that me and Big Bertha have been around the block a few times. You know, I bought this frying pan probably 10 years ago from a local hardware store here in Northern California. And it has been my go-to for a lot of stuff. Can't beat a good cast iron skillet. Let that cook for a few seconds, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. I hope you guys get something out of this. A lot of people don't realize that a good spaghetti sauce has carrots in it. I know a lot of people probably put mushrooms and all that in there, but my wife is not a mushroom person, but she doesn't mind it in her spaghetti. And it gives it a little bit of earthy flavor. Back to the fat content of the hamburger meat. See that grease in there? See it bubbling? Some of that is olive oil, but a lot of it come out of the meat. And I'm hoping, which it will, it'll evaporate off. It's not just grease, it's, a lot of it's just moisture. So I'm hoping I don't have to drain it, but I've been caught several times where even buying 7% fat hamburger meat, it had a lot of grease content, and you can see it's already drying out. And the grease that you see is olive oil that I started sauteing the vegetables in. And that's fine. We want the olive oil at least. Olive oil and used in your food or consumed in a conservative manner is really good for you. Yep, it's drying out. Yep, look how dry that's getting. We're about to go to the next step here in just a few seconds. Nice and hot. Gonna make me a hole in the middle. Gonna go in with some milk. We're gonna let that boil off and reduce. And what's going to happen is the milk is going to leave behind sugar. Wish you guys could smell that. Smells so good. Got my white wine here. I'm gonna put a half a cup of white wine. That was just north of a half a cup of milk. As soon as that milk evaporates, we'll go with the wine. We got the onions, the mushrooms, carrots in there, the hamburger meat. And after I get this in the marinara, which is going to turn it into a ragu, we'll start on our meatballs. And then we're going to do some garlic. We're going to roast some garlic and make some garlic paste. For some bread. So that milk is almost gone, you see that? It basically is gone. So I'm going in with the wine. Turn up the heat a little bit. We're going to let that evaporate. And then we're going to throw that in our marinara. Our spaghetti sauce. It won't take long. It's almost there. Almost there. My stove is having issues right now. You guys, I'm sure you can hear it clicking. I've got to get it fixed. I was told what part needs to be replaced. You hear the clicking. I got to replace the sensor that senses whether or not there's fire. And it's clicking because of the level of fire underneath the spaghetti sauce. The sensor's not picking up on it. It thinks there's no fire there. It's a safety mechanism. We're almost dry. We're getting there. These are hard videos to make because they're so long, but we have to make sure that we get, you know, my whole motive behind even doing these videos is to make sure all the pertinent information gets out there for those that have never done anything like this. And sometimes, in order to achieve that, they get long. We're done. I'm gonna start draining this and putting it in our tomatoes. And now we have a ragu, as my father-in-law would call it. And of course, I'm making a mess. So technically, if you went to an authentic Italian restaurant, this is a Bolognese. That's going to cook for a couple of more hours, and in the meantime, we're going to put together some meatballs and some roasted garlic. Look at that now. Gonna let that cook on a simmer for quite a while. Be right back with you guys. Alright, so here we go again. Let's make some meatballs. So I have a pound of and we've got a brand new puppy in the house, so she's barking over there. You guys hear her, that's what that's about. We've got a pound of Italian sausage mild, and we have a half a pound of hamburger meat. And I'm gonna throw in 1 egg, beaten. And I've got some salt and pepper in there. Be careful on the salt because the Italian sausage already has a salt content in it. And then we're gonna hit it with some freshly ground Parmesan cheese. Or freshly grated, I guess I should say. I'm gonna mix this up. Good old meatballs. I've got my pan over here. This is gonna go in the oven. That's I would normally use parchment paper, but I don't have any right now, and I didn't realize that, so I'm using tinfoil, which will be fine. I have that oiled. I have that oiled with olive oil. Just roll them up. That is about the size I'm looking for. Ooh, I dropped that one. That's okay. Get them on the pan. My oven is set at 400 degrees. I'm gonna put these in the oven and brown them up. Towards the middle of the cook, I'm gonna take this pan out of the oven and turn them. A little bigger. Add a little more of this one. So again, this is a pound of Italian mild sausage and a half a pound of hamburger meat with salt and pepper and a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'll get these done. I'm not looking for a whole lot. I'll get them cooked, and the next thing we do, the cutting board's clean. I took this off the cutting board, so. They'll be good. They'll be real good. We got one more in here. I'm gonna be a small guy. That's okay. I'm gonna throw these in the oven at 400. I'll keep an eye on them. And then I'll flip them. And then I'll start some roasted garlic. Be right back with you. So I've got my garlic here. I'm gonna drizzle it with a little bit of olive oil. And we are good to go in the oven. I'll wrap it up. And that's all we need. All right, so our meatballs are done. Like I said earlier, I didn't have any parchment paper, so I had to use tin foil. You got to use what you got. These are going right into the ragu. This is so good, y'all. The tin foil is not the best way to go. I will warn you on that. It's best to use parchment paper. Now I've got a piece of tin foil I've got to get off of this particular meatball. There we go. So, garlic's in the oven. I'm going to start some pasta here in just a little bit. And we're going to do some garlic bread. And we're going to eat. Alright guys, I'm pretty anal about my pasta. So I've got fresh water in there, and I have angel hair. I like it all, don't get me wrong, but angel hair is my favorite, and that's what we're using today. I've got 2 pounds here. I don't know if I'll use it all. Maybe not. So we got clean water in there right now. I'm gonna throw some olive oil in there. Don't skimp on it. Don't be afraid of it. Just get it done. I can't stress that enough. And I'm looking for my salt. I apologize. I'm going to throw some salt in there. And then once that gets to rolling, I'll throw my pasta in there. And you know, one of these days, I just don't have the equipment right now. One of these days I'll make my own pasta. But as of right now, it's just not in the cards. I don't have the equipment for it. So, one of these days we'll get there. It's almost sacrilegious to cook spaghetti sauce or ragu, whatever you want to call it, from scratch, and then use store-bought pasta. But that's okay. It turns out good. And I'll show you guys the way I do it. And it definitely turns out fine in terms of being al dente, and being having lots of moisture. You don't want dry pasta. That is the key. So once this heats up and it's ready to throw some pasta in it, I'll come back to you guys. So we're ready for some pasta. She's boiling. You know, I think I'm gonna do a pound and a half. And I don't break my, again, this is angel hair. I don't break mine. I just put them in there. And you'll see me do what I do here in just a minute. I might only do a pound. Let me get some tongs. It's been a long day. You hear my wife over there yelling at the dog. We got a puppy here. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm twisting them around. I'm getting them in the water. You know what? I think I'll do another half a pound. Making a mess. That's okay. I don't break my noodles. I used to, but I don't do it today. After I was exposed to several culinary situations in my life, I stopped doing that. that'll all cook. And I'm gonna get one of my big forks. I'm gonna make sure they cook evenly. You want to make sure you don't just leave them in there and let them clump together, because they will. They're already loosening up, but they're also already clumping. It don't take long to get these where they need to be. We are cooking. South Alabama boy cooking Italian food that knows a little bit about it. Imagine that. Make sure there's no clumps in there. Let it cook for a little bit longer, and then we're going to strain it. And keep the broth. You always got to keep the broth. See how tender they're getting already? I've only been in here a couple of minutes. I'm gonna check one right now. Still hot. We got a little bit to go. Little bit to go. Be right back with you. All right, so these are done. Let me test a little more just to make sure. Very hot, obviously. Oh yeah, perfect. So I'm going to the sink. And look at what I did. Put them in a pot so they can stay hot. Now it's time to start some bread. Remember that roasted garlic? I made a garlic spread out of it. So we're ready to eat. I'll show you guys a plate. What it's supposed to look like. You guys stay tuned. More videos to come. Have a good night.